The airport was loud with rushing footsteps and boarding calls, but suddenly everything went quiet around one man. A black traveler stood calmly at the counter, passport in hand. The gate agent stared at it, then at him, her voice dripping with suspicion. "This is fake. You're not who you say you are," gasps, whispers. A few passengers pulled out their phones, sensing drama. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He simply said, "Check it again." But she didn't. She tore his passport in half. What no one realized in that moment is that the man they just humiliated was the director of the CIA. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe so more stories like this reach people who need to hear them. He wasn't in a tailored suit that day. No security detail. No flashing credentials. Just a man in a plain shirt carrying a worn leather briefcase, waiting to board his flight like everyone else. He believed in blending in because power didn't always need to shout. His name was Jonathan. To most of the world, just another traveler. To Washington, he was the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the man trusted with secrets that could change nations. But here, in this crowded airport terminal, none of that mattered. What mattered was perception. As he stepped forward, he noticed the subtle change in the gate agent's eyes. Polite smile replaced by cold doubt. Her tone sharpened, louder than necessary, designed to draw attention. "This passport doesn't look right," she said. Passengers in line shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Others leaned in, waiting for a spectacle. Jonathan kept his composure, his deep voice calm. "You're mistaken. Scan it again. But authority has a way of bending depending on who's holding it and who's standing on the other side." She didn't scan it again. She called for verification. Within minutes, 2 more staff members surrounded him, whispering, questioning, glancing at him like he was already guilty of something. Jonathan had spent decades navigating the most dangerous rooms in the world, from foreign capitals to covert negotiations. Yet here at home he felt the familiar sting of being judged not by who he was, but by what he looked like. And with every second, the line behind him grew restless, and the cameras started recording. The murmurs around him grew louder. Why's he being stopped? Must be fake ID. Jonathan stood silent, letting their words pass through him. He had learned long ago that silence carried more weight than shouting. But inside, he knew this wasn't just about a document. It was about suspicion baked so deep that no evidence could erase it. One of the supervisors stepped closer. "Sir, we need you to step aside for questioning." Jonathan calmly replied, "You've already got my passport. Scan it. The system will confirm who I am." But they didn't. Instead, they radioed airport security. Within minutes, 2 uniformed officers arrived. Hands resting on their belts, eyes already sharp with doubt. "What's the problem here?" one asked. The gate agent pointed at Jonathan as if presenting evidence. "Suspicious passport. Likely fake." Passengers pulled out their phones faster now, eager to capture the moment. To them, it was entertainment. To Jonathan, it was humiliation playing out on a stage he never auditioned for. The officers didn't ask questions. They didn't even glance at the computer. Instead, they demanded, "Step aside, now!" Jonathan exhaled slowly. "You're making a mistake. Sir, cooperate. Or this will escalate." Then it happened. One of the officers grabbed the passport from the counter. Flipping it over like it was a forged toy, "This thing's fake," he muttered, and with a single tear of paper, ripped it clean in half. Jonathan's eyes fixed on the torn pieces lying on the counter. That passport wasn't just paper. It was his identity, his dignity, his proof. "Now," the officer said firmly, "come with us." Jonathan glanced at the crowd. Some passengers looked uneasy, others satisfied, as if they'd just seen a criminal unmasked. He felt the sting of every stare, every whispered assumption. In that moment, Jonathan realized something chilling. If this could happen to him, the man who carried the highest security clearance in the nation, what hope was there for the ordinary black man who didn't? The cameras were rolling. The world was about to see what injustice looked like in real time. The officers tightened around him, one gripping his arm. The crowd pressed closer, phones capturing every second. Jonathan's calm never broke. He had endured worse, but what made this moment unbearable was not the hand on his arm or the stares burning into his back. It was the certainty in their eyes, the certainty that he didn't belong, that no proof could make him legitimate. "Sir, you're under detention until we sort this out," one officer announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. Jonathan finally looked directly into the camera of a bystander's phone. His voice, steady but edged with steel, cut through the noise. "Do you know who I am?" the officer scoffed. "A man with a fake passport." Jonathan reached into his briefcase slowly, deliberately. Every move was precise, controlled. He pulled out a small leather wallet, flipped it open, and placed it on the counter for all to see. The gold shield gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights. The badge of the Central Intelligence Agency. His ID card bore the seal of the United States. The room went silent. He spoke, his words sharp and cold. "My name is Jonathan. I am the director of the CIA. I've just been accused, humiliated, and had federal property destroyed, in front of dozens of witnesses. All because you saw a black man and assumed he was lying." The officer froze. The gate agent's face drained of color. Phones shook in people's hands as they realized what they had just recorded. For a long, heavy moment, nobody moved. Then Jonathan picked up the shredded remains of his passport, holding them in his palm like evidence. "This," he said quietly, "is not about me. It's about every man and woman who goes through this without a badge to prove their worth. Remember that when the cameras show the world what happened here today, the silence in the terminal was deafening. The humiliation had turned into revelation. Within hours, the footage spread online. Millions watched the moment a CIA director, the man trusted with safeguarding America's most dangerous secrets, was treated like a liar at an airport counter. Headlines exploded. CIA director humiliated at airport, passport ripped. Identity denied. The airline scrambled to apologize. Officials promised an internal review. Statements poured in about miscommunication and procedural errors. But the truth was visible on every screen. This wasn't a mistake. It was a judgment made in seconds, based on the color of his skin. Inside government halls, senators demanded accountability. Security agencies called it a national embarrassment. But Jonathan's own words in that terminal echoed louder than any press release. "This is not about me. It's about every man and woman who faces this without a badge." And that's what cut deepest. Because the world saw the privilege of his position. He had the power to reveal who he was, to silence the accusations in a single moment. But what about the thousands who can't? The fathers, the mothers, the students, the workers, whose dignity is torn apart, with no badge to protect them, no cameras to bear witness. The question isn't whether one airline or one officer should be punished. The question is deeper, harder. If the system fails the most powerful, what chance does it give the rest of us? And maybe that's the lesson. That true justice isn't about titles, ranks, or badges. It's about dignity. And the belief that every human being deserves to be seen for who they are, not who they are presumed to be. If you've experienced or witnessed the same, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so together we can spread the message further.